This is TechCrunch. Campbell Brown has spent her career chasing accurate information, first as a renowned TV journalist, then as Facebook's first and only dedicated news chief. Now, watching AI reshape how people consume information, she sees history threatening to repeat itself. This time, she's not waiting for someone else to fix it. Her company, Forum AI, which she discussed recently with TechCrunch's Tim Fernholz at a Strictly VC evening in San Francisco, evaluates how foundation models perform on what she calls high-stakes topics, like geopolitics, mental health, finance, hiring, subjects where there are no clear yes or no answers, where it's murky and nuanced and complex. The idea is to find the world's foremost experts, have them architect benchmarks, then train AI judges to evaluate models at scale. For Forum AI's geopolitics work, Brown has recruited Niall Ferguson, Fareed Zakaria, former Secretary of State Tony Blinken, former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, and Ann Neuberger, who led cybersecurity in the Obama administration. The goal is to get AI judges to roughly 90% consensus with those human experts, a threshold she says Forum AI has been able to reach. Brown traces the origin of Forum AI, founded 17 months ago in New York, to a specific moment. She said, "I was at Meta when ChatGPT was first released publicly, and I remember really shortly after realizing this is going to be the funnel through which all information flows, and it's not very good." The implications for her own children made the moment feel more existential by saying, "My kids are going to be really dumb if we don't figure out how to fix this." What frustrated her most was that accuracy did not seem to be anyone's priority. Foundation model companies, she said, are extremely focused on coding and math, whereas news and information are harder. But harder, she argued, does not mean optional. Indeed, when Forum AI began evaluating the leading models, the findings were not exactly encouraging. She cited Gemini pulling from Chinese Communist Party websites for stories that have nothing to do with China, and noted a left-leaning political bias across nearly all models. Subtler failures abound as well, she said, including missing context, missing perspectives, straw-manning arguments without acknowledgement. There's a long way to go, she said, but I also think that there are some very easy fixes that would vastly improve the outcomes. Brown spent years at Facebook watching what happens when a platform optimizes for the wrong thing. She told Fernholz that we failed at a lot of things we tried. The fact-checking program she built no longer exists. The lesson, even if social media has turned a blind eye to it, is that optimizing for engagement has been lousy for society and left many less informed. Her hope is that AI can break that cycle. She said, right now it could go either way. Companies could give users what they want, or they could give people what's real and what's honest and what's truthful. She acknowledged the idealistic version of that, AI optimizing for truth, might sound naive, but she thinks enterprise may be the unlikely ally here. Businesses using AI for credit decisions, lending, insurance, and hiring care about liability, and they're going to want you to optimize for getting it right. That enterprise demand is also what Forum AI is betting its business on, though turning compliance interest into consistent revenue remains a challenge, particularly given that much of the current market is still satisfied with checkbox audits and standardized benchmarks that Brown considers inadequate. The compliance landscape, she said, is a joke. When New York City passed the first hiring bias law requiring AI audits, the state comptroller found more than half had violations that went undetected. Real evaluation, she said, requires domain expertise to work through not just known scenarios, but edge cases that can get you into trouble that people don't think about. And that work takes time. Smart generalists are not going to cut it. Brown, whose company last fall raised $3 million, is uniquely positioned to describe the disconnect between the AI industry's self-image and the reality for most users. You hear from leaders of the big tech companies, this technology is going to change the world. It's going to put you out of work. It's going to cure cancer. But then to a normal person who's just using a chatbot to ask basic questions, they're still getting a lot of slop and wrong answers. Trust in AI sits at extraordinarily low levels, and she thinks that skepticism is, in many cases, justified. She said, the conversation is sort of happening in Silicon Valley around one thing, and a totally different conversation is happening among consumers. Elon Musk's xAI is running nearly 50 natural gas turbines at its Mississippi data center, power plants that the state is currently not regulating thanks to a loophole. The power plants are considered mobile by the state of Mississippi because they are sitting on flatbed trailers, thus allowing them to dodge air pollution regulations for 1 year. The NAACP, which has filed a lawsuit on behalf of residents in the area, say the unchecked emissions from the turbines is worsening air quality in an already polluted region. This week, it asked the court for an injunction against xAI. At issue is the mobile nature of the turbines. The Southern Environmental Law Center, which filed the lawsuit on behalf of the NAACP, says the turbines are being operated in violation of federal law, which states that power plants mounted on a trailer can still be considered stationary and subject to air pollution regulations. xAI has been granted permits for 15 of its turbines. A Greater Memphis Chamber of Commerce press release previously said that about half of the 35 turbines in operation in May of 2025 would remain on site. However, xAI has continued to install more. Currently, it's operating 46, according to a local news report. That's all for now. For the latest news in tech, go to TechCrunch.com.